In this video, I'm going to talk about winter wellness based on traditional Chinese medicine theory. It is about how do we nurture our health through specific food and Chinese herbs during winter. I will also share tips on lifestyles and how do we manage our emotion during this time. Hi everyone, welcome to Chinese Herbal Pantry channel. My name is Shirley. I'm a registered Chinese medicine practitioner as well as pharmacist in Australia. This episode is specifically dedicated to my beloved Melburnians. I live in Melbourne too. We are currently under very harsh stage 4 lockdown. We still have about 3 weeks of winter. So I wish that this video will give you some helpful tips on how to look after our health based on Chinese medicine theories. And in a few months' time, when the Northern Hemisphere start to go into winter, and I wish that this video will be helpful for you too at that time. Today I'm going to introduce a very important concept in Chinese medicine. It is called Yang Shen. Yang means nurture, Shen means life, so it means nurturing life. In a narrow sense, it's about our health. In Chinese medicine, health is never given. It's actually require efforts and intention to nurture it. In this video, I only focus on winter time. A few weeks ago, I gave a presentation at a Yin Yoga retreat that is organized by my lovely friends Leonie. So I'm going to share the same presentations to you today. So I'm going to go to the computer now. So I'm going to go quite fast. If any questions, do feel free to leave it in the comment or follow me in Instagram or Facebook. I'll try my best to reply. And some concepts here are traditional Chinese medicine concept. So please listen with an open heart. I hope you would just accept it for now. And in other episodes, I will share a bit more on the basic fundamentals of traditional Chinese medicine theories. So let's just get started. So as you can see here, that's the topic, winter wellness, nurturing health with food and herbs through the seasons. So how do we nurture health during winter time? There is a famous concept called 春夏养阳即养生养长. In English, it basically means during spring and summer, we nourish our yang, focus on going outward, flourishing, and using our energy to grow. During autumn and winter, that's when we nourish our yin. We will focus on going inward, resting, storing, and restoring. There is a very famous classical literature in Chinese medicine called Yellow Emperor Inner Classics, Huangdi Neijing. This book is written 1,000 years ago, one of the most ancient one. There's a paragraph there. It's specifically talk about how do we look after ourselves during winter. I'm going to quickly read it out. The 3 months of winter is the time referred to as shuttling and storing. The winter freezes and the earth cracks. Do not expand your yang. Go to bed early and rise late. Wait for the sunlight to stir and make your will appear if you are going into hiding. Avoid the cold and stay close to the warm. Do not allow outward sweating and avoid extreme qi deprivations. This is the way of responding to the qi of the winter and the way of nurturing storage. If you go against it, you will injure the kidney qi and lack the provisions required to support sprouting in the spring. Quite a lot of concepts here are quite common sense, like avoid the cold, keep warm. One thing is during winter time, it's good to sleep early and wake up late. The idea is we live in rhythm with the universe. So when the sun goes down, we go to rest. When the sun rises up, we wake up. And the other thing is talk about is we need to avoid extreme using of our energy, because those energy need to be stored during winter time. So we will have that energy to use during springtime and summertime. So we don't have to feel that we need to do everything. It is okay to take it slow, be kind to yourself, and let yourself take the rest. And do not allow over sweating. Basically just means that you still do exercise, but you do the gentler form of exercise, like yoga. In Chinese, we will have the Qigong and the Tai Chi. So this is a 5-element chart. I want to bring your attention to the last column here. as you can see here, it's in relation to winter, and in winter, it's in relation to kidney and the water, and it's in relation to black color. Okay, and the taste is salty taste. This emotion fear may come up more. I think it's important to understand that if it come up, you don't have to suppress it. You know it's there. We just learn way to manage it. So now I quickly go into the winter food that are good to nurture our health during this time. TCM means traditional Chinese medicine. So there are a few categories. First is the warming food. Second, tonic. Third is salty. Plus bitter and slightly cooling food. Black color food, it's in relation to the kidney. As you can see in the old text, it say if you go against it, you will injure the kidney chi. So that means that we need to nourish our kidney to look after it. So for those who don't have basic understanding of Chinese medicine, kidney is not the Western medicine kidney. It's got nothing to do with our kidney function tests. So don't worry about it. So let's talk about the first category. It's quite common sense, just the body nature to crave for warming food. So warming is not necessarily just in terms of the temperature. It's in Chinese medicine, we categorize food that is cold, that is warm. So these are a few examples. So the first one is the ginger cinnamon. We all know this. Meat stew. In the West, we will have all those like meat stew, casserole, one big pot of heartwarming food. So it's the same in Asia. And I note here as especially the lamb. Out of all the meat, lamb is the most warming one. So if you can tolerate the lamb food, this is a good time to eat. However, some people might find it's too warming. Then you can use other meat type. Warm soup, hot pot, rice porridge. We think it's very good to warm up the stomach. And then the number 6 item is to avoid cold and raw food. So cold food, which is like salads, cold sandwich. If you do that, it's fine. Of course, doesn't say that you can't. Importantly, is before you eat the cold food, maybe like have a cup of warm tea or ginger tea first to coat our stomach with warmness before you put down a lot of cold food. And raw food such as sashimi might not be the best food to eat during winter time. If you do, similarly have some warm drink first. This is the next category. It's quite Chinese medicine herb based because we have a category of Chinese medicine is tonics. So the first one is the ginseng, which is quite widely known. But ginseng become very expensive. Then we have the dangshen. It's like the slightly cheaper version of chi tonic. Walnuts, it's very good during winter time. And dang gui. Dang gui is like what you can see in the picture here. These are the dang gui. And then we have the number 5 red dates, and these are some of the red dates. So basically, this is a chicken dish that we put some Chinese herbs in there. But just be careful, dang gui, it's not everybody can take. People who take blood thinner, people who have even like heart and blood pressure conditions, I would not recommend to use it unless it's supervised by your Chinese medicine doctor. But for most people who are generally healthy or feeling quite cold during winter time, you can take a small dose and make it into a food like this. It's quite heartwarming. And then longan fruits, I talked about it in previous episode before. Shanyao, which is the Chinese yam. You can buy the raw one in supermarket, and the dry one you can get it from Chinese herbalists. And then, of course, we have the pumpkins and potatoes, the root vegetables, because they grow underground. So for us, it's like the yin versions. So it's good to, like I say, during winter time, it's good to nourish our yin. And the next one is salty. Remember in the 5-element chart, I talk about salty taste. It's in relations to winter time. And I also include the category of bitter. When the food tastes bitter, it's slightly cooling. Let's start. The number 1 is miso. And soy sauce, seaweed. Like this is a good combination where, like you can see in the picture, is the ramen. Actually, a lot of all this Chinese medicine theory, it's already in Asian food culture. Japan and Korea are two big countries that also use a lot of Chinese medicine. Ramen, like who don't like ramen during winter time, right? Daikon radish and cabbage is considered a slightly cooling food. So the idea is when we have too much of heartwarming food, they sometimes can be too overwhelming, and so we need something cooling to actually balance it out. Chinese medicine is never about overwhelm yourself. It's all about finding the balance, and each person are different. So you will know what feel good for you. So all these are only recommendations, and then you can decide. I will have a friend who tell me she can never take, let's say, the dangui or lamb because it's just too hot for them, and then they know it, they will have the symptoms. So in this case, like Korean, they eat a lot of barbecue food. It's quite warming, and they have the famous ginseng chicken soup. But before all this heavy food, they eat a bit of daikon radish, which is the kimchi cabbage, before they eat. Not only for open up the appetite, they actually it also cooling is to have that balance when you eat very heavy food. Citrus peel, in Chinese we call chenpi, which you can see in the cup here. It's warming and it's moving. So moving means that when you eat a lot of warming food, it gets very stuck. So we need to move it, gently move it a little bit. And watercress, slightly cooling, quinoa. The next category is black color food, which is, we say, it's a kidney food. As you can see in the picture here, this is the black fungus. This is the black bean soup. Black sesame, black fungus, black beans, black rice, and black pepper. Obviously, black pepper is also warming food. This category it's what you can introduce in your winter diet. This is a good time to take all this to nourish our kidney, to help to support that. So we will have the foundation to sprout during springtime. Of course, none of this is really hard science, but it's traditionally what we use for, and generally, as you can see, most of the food, when it comes to your mind, you notice is actually quite nourishing. So it's a good time to take during winter time. We will have different food to recommend for springtime and summertime. I will make those videos when that time comes. So now I want to talk a bit about winter tea. So dry ginger and red dates, and use fresh ginger as well. Ginger we think is warming, but dry ginger we think is even more warming. Add some red dates. Red dates is a tonic. Longan red date goji tea, and the chenpi or citrus peel tea. Osmanthus flower tea. This picture shows the osmanthus. In Chinese, we call it gui hua. Gui hua is one of the flower that is actually warming in nature, and it's very flavorful. It's quite sweet. And rose tea is warming and is moving. It's actually very good for calming as well. Masala chai, I think everybody know about this, and perfect time to drink more during winter. I'm sorry I rushed through a little bit, but I thought I'm just going to keep it simple and sweet. So lastly, let me conclude these presentations. Please take this time, the winter time, to rest and restore. You can take things slow. Be kind to yourself. And of course, be kind to others during this difficult time. Please go to bed early, and you are encouraged to wake up late. So yay, yeah? I mean, of course, if your work permitted. Keep yourself warm. Here I added one extra note, is especially in the kidney region. Kidney is not the western kidney again, but in Chinese medicine's kidney region is in the lower back. This is the time that you need to keep it warm. Drink warm tea and soup. Eat food that are warming and nourishing. Black color food and a small amount of slightly bitter cooling food. So these are generally the food principle during winter time. It's up to you to find your own balance for yourself and your family. So that's all for me for today, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned something that you can implement it during the winter time. If you find this channel useful, don't forget to subscribe, and also please say hello or follow me in Instagram or the Facebook. We can communicate more in those platforms, and your subscriptions give me the confidence that I can keep making all these videos for you guys. See you next time. Bye.